Hello, Charlene here, and this is the LinkedIn Success Workshop Series. And today we are going to, not we, sorry, I am going to show you how to flood your LinkedIn inbox with potential clients. So let's get started. Hello, I'm Charlene Tessier. Let me get my name there. And I am helping you to attract motivated prospects using LinkedIn and Livestream. And today we have a lovely workshop on how to flood your LinkedIn inbox and how to do that. So I'm just going to grab up. We are going to do a little bit different today. We're going to have some slides. So here we go. Let's start flooding that inbox of LinkedIn. Now, a little bit more about me. I originally had an offline business about 4 years ago, and I decided to move that online. I moved it online for several reasons. One, I just had my daughter, and I thought it would be easier to have an online business. The second reason was that I moved out of my country of Canada, which is where I was located and where my business was physically located, to Germany. And therefore, I had to move it online because I still had uh, clients in Canada, but of course, I wasn't there. Now, I thought, of course, like many others, where should I go, right? There's many social platforms that I could use to attract my potential clients. Should I use Facebook? Should I use Instagram? Should I use Twitter? I decided on LinkedIn. The reason was because I was on LinkedIn since pretty much the start, and I was always maintaining my profile there and just kind of keeping up to date with LinkedIn. And I really felt that that's where my people were. They were on LinkedIn. So I dove in deep into all kinds of LinkedIn strategies. And for 2 years, I tried all kinds of things. And I started with a very cold list of 50 people. And at the end of 2 years, I still had that same cold list. I was really frustrated and disappointed that my online business didn't look like it was going to go off the ground. And have you ever tried a social media strategy and at the end felt very disappointed and frustrated at the result that you had? Yeah, I have exactly. Let's move my comments here in case I can see. Oops, clicking on the wrong thing. There we go. Well, I didn't want to give up. And so what I did is I started to actually use LinkedIn in a different way. I started testing different things and trying different things and finding out what really worked for me. And so I started doing that, and something really unexpected happened. Once I started doing that, somebody direct messaged me and they are asking me about my services. And I was shocked, right? That had never happened to me before, where a person just stranger reached out to me asking about my services. And I thought, what's going on here? And so we met, and she ended up turning out to be one of my very first beta program clients. Now, I thought, this was just luck. This has just only happened once. It's probably never ever going to happen again. However, I kept doing what I was doing, and it wasn't luck. I started getting direct messages every month, sometimes more than once a month. And those turned into potential calls for clients, and eventually some even turned into clients. And this Amy, she ended up turning out to be one of my first clients through using what I've been going to be showing you today, how I flooded my LinkedIn inbox with potential prospects. And as of today, it's still happening. I'm still getting direct messages. I'm still meeting people on LinkedIn, and I am getting more and more people to my list. And you, if you'll see my profile, you don't need a big following. You don't need lots of connections. You don't need to post all the time, and you don't need to be extremely heavy in terms of your time in order to actually achieve what I'm going to show you today. So in this workshop today, and if you do have any questions, please just drop them out in that comments there, and I will see if I can answer them either at the end or during the workshop. So in this workshop, I'm going to show you how to first find those ideal clients, how to target them on LinkedIn, and then how to attract them. First, we need to find some. Without any, then we won't obviously have any clients. And this is actually one of the biggest mistakes most entrepreneurs make. As soon as they decide to go onto LinkedIn, the biggest mistake they make is they just start posting, start commenting, start sharing, start engaging, and posting and posting and posting. And the reason this is the biggest mistake is because they haven't really thought about the journey of their potential prospect on LinkedIn and how you are actually found by your potential prospects. So we're going to go on a little journey and we're going to find out how you are found on LinkedIn and why it's so important to not start with posting and what you should be starting with instead. See if this little, oops, I try to make a little thing here. There we go. So what does most people do when they go onto LinkedIn? They start in their morning, they get onto their LinkedIn feed, and what do you do? What does everybody do? Scroll. You scroll really crazy. You scroll super fast. And they are essentially looking for something very interesting to consume. And once they find that interesting piece of content to consume and enjoy it, they then look at often who was the creator of that. And there are two very key things that they are looking for when they are essentially discovering you on LinkedIn. And I'm sorry, made a mistake. So there are actually two things not that they're looking at. There's two things that make them stop scrolling when they discover you on LinkedIn. The first thing that they look at is whether or not they know you, or if they've consumed your content before, if they recognize you, recognize your color, brand, or they recognize your face. They often recognize me because of my branding, and they know what they're going to get, and they know it's going to be high value. Maybe they follow that person for quite a while. So if they happen to know the person, it doesn't have to be as a good friend, you just happen to know them, recognize them, that will be one of the two ways that they will stop. The second way you can get them to stop is if your content is very exciting in some way. So maybe the hook, it really hooks you in. It's really controversial. Or maybe it's about something that's really relevant to you now, the problem that you're really having and suffering. Or maybe it's a funny video or an interesting image. Something really shocking and exciting kind of draws you into that post. And so you get drawn into that post, and one of the things you might end up seeing after you draw into that post, you decide, okay, do I want to learn more about the person of this creator? And this person, for example, is a meaning maker, a positivity booster, and a career advisor. Now, I want you to think a little bit about, like, what does that mean to you? Does that make you want to learn more about her or him? Are you interested in discovering more about this person? There's another one. How about if this person, if you read the content, you went and you saw the 72 characters, that's all you have here, 72 characters. And she's a startups and innovation marketing pro, founder, and champion. And so that's all we get. There's even more, but you really only get 72 characters on the LinkedIn profile. And is that enough to really tell you, do you want to know more about that person? Well, this is one of my clients, Tiffany, and what she does is she helps overwhelmed solopreneurs grow their business. There's a big difference between having a bunch of titles like CEO of XYZ company, marketing pro, founder. That's all quite very generic. It doesn't really tell me very much about this person. Okay, career advisor. Okay, that's very great. But for who? What is a positivity booster? What is a meaning maker? And essentially, by knowing who it is you help and how you help them, they can make a quick snap decision whether they want to start moving towards you and into your world and into your inbox. Now, with Tiffany, if I happen to be a solopreneur who's really feeling overwhelmed these days, which I am, and I'm scaling and growing my business, I might think, hey, you know what? I really enjoyed that content that Tiffany shared about how to grow my business, and I'm actually feeling overwhelmed. I want to follow her, get more into her. I want to see her stuff more in my inbox. I want to see her stuff on my feed. I want to know more about Nancy. My apologies, Tiffany. Wrong name. Next one is Nancy. And Nancy's also works with solopreneurs. And she helps them with the how and when to ask for the sale. Again, you only got those 72 characters. Yes, she has more. You can see there's a dot, dot, dot. But when you're on those posts in the feed, you've got 72 characters to make an impression. Call out to who you want to help and tell them how you can help them. And by saying how and when to ask for the sale, that's very clear. Maybe I feel I'm struggling with sales. I've got lots of people contacting me about my services, but I can't seem to close. And so Nancy, if she has some excellent content, I might be thinking, I want to keep more in touch with her and find out more. So now that we know how that you have gotten found on LinkedIn, let's now target those and attract them to you, right? Where those are the three steps. We're first going to find them, target them, and then attract them. And now with the second step, we are going to target them. And there were also two steps for this. I try to make it super easy. I love two-step processes. Now, the two steps that you have to think about in that bit of text that was underneath your name, which happens to be called the headline, is who do you help and how do you solve their problem? Now, if you think back to Tiffany, who did she help? Overwhelmed solopreneurs. How did she solve their problem? How she helped them scale and grow. Or Nancy, how and when to ask for the sale. This is a very crucial because if you don't target and call out to those who will be a match for you, who you want to attract, they won't know to come. It will just be another post and they'll move on to the next one. Now, bit of thinking here. You might be looking at your LinkedIn profile right now. Are you looking at it, thinking about it? Think about it. Is it answering those two questions? Is it answering those two questions? Who do you help? How do you serve them? And if you would love some feedback, I would love to give you some personal feedback, then please drop your LinkedIn profile down in the comments. And I do a monthly segment where I review one of my community members and I give them personal feedback on that bit of headline. So, and I'd love to give you some feedback as well. So drop it down in the comments below and I'll give you some feedback on your personal headline. If you're wondering, is it answering those questions very well? And it's always really great to ask people that you don't know, because sometimes we're so in our own business and our own, world. We know our business really, really well. When we are reaching out to those outside of it, sometimes asking those who actually don't know anything about your business will actually give you much more information and create a much stronger and better headline. Now, our third step is we want to attract, of course, those ideal prospects. And now we've got a little workshop, a little bit of workshopping to do. And what we're going to be doing is, let me see if I've got it up here. No, we're going to go back. Sorry. So what we're going to be doing is, let's do this here, is a little workshop. And what I would like you to do is grab your pen and paper and start jotting down essentially first step, who was it you serve? Okay. And you're going to probably start out with some very broad strokes. Even I currently struggle with this quite a bit right now, in that I really target mostly coaches and online entrepreneurs. And you can always, of course, start there. Maybe you cater to dog owners or pet owners, pet store owners, or maybe you are catering to those in the health and wellness industry, right? That's very broad strokes. What we want to do is keep asking ourselves, how niche down can we go? Because really, it's much, much easier to serve a very small single niche who is interested in what you want rather than the broad strokes. So for me, even coaches is quite broad. I should even be thinking about maybe those coaches who are in health and wellness industry, or maybe I want to think about coaches who are around mindset. So that's getting much more specific. So calling all mindset coaches, I help you, right, to do something. Now, so first step is to brainstorm, of course, those broad level topics. Then I want you to think about the niche. How niche down can you go? And if you're not sure, there's a few ways you can discover this. If you've already had some clients in the past, You can look at them and see if they're in a particular industry and work from there and niche it down. You can also look at the problems that they said that they have, and if there may be a very common thread of problems that they have, and therefore that's why the industry is a bit more broad, but they all have a very singular problem, and that can tie them together, and that can really be your niche as well. And so thinking about those things in order to start determining who you serve. One of the biggest mistakes entrepreneurs make is they decide on who they serve in these very broad general strokes. And the more specific you can be, the better your messaging will be, and the easier it will be for them to find you and reach out to you and start direct messaging you on LinkedIn. Now, the second thing you want to work on, and this is tiny bit, a little bit more tricky, but you can do it, is how do you serve them? So we often talk about the solution, like we have some kind of special program, or we run a course, or we do some kind of activity. For example, the tool that we do, I, for example, use LinkedIn and live streaming. These are just the tools, the means to an end. But what is the real problem that they want to solve, and how do you solve it specifically for them? And how I do that is help you attract more potential prospects. That's the problem that all those clients, all those coaches really want to use LinkedIn and social media for, is they are using an online social platform to do what? To find clients. They are not using a social platform for to be a creator, to post every day, or to engage. No, they are doing those activities. Why? The number one reason is the problem they want to solve is they want to attract more clients. They want to get more of the right clients. And so you really want the second part of your headline to talk about that. So think about what is the common problems. If you don't know, again, either do some interviews with them, or write down from clients that you currently have, what was the problems, what did they come to you for, in order to get help with them. And of course you help them in a very specific way using a very specific means or tool. And there's no wrong, right? So this is something that takes a bit of time, and I find that headlines needs to be continually worked. Everybody feels that, oh, it's done and dusted. I've got the LinkedIn headline. It's done forever. Somewhat, but not really true. It often takes many iterations. And I'm often updating my headline approximately every 3 or 4 months, trying to see if it will engage people more, if I will get more views, less views. And I'm watching those metrics to see what will happen. If you have questions about how to craft that headline, again, I can give you a personalized review about your headline. And if you drop your LinkedIn profile link below, I'll be very happy to do that and tag you and let you know that I'm giving you that review. So far in this workshop, we have talked about, in 3 very easy steps, how to find, target, and attract our client on LinkedIn. And remember, let's go to their summary here. Right, we started out with how to find them and understanding how a potential prospects actually finds you on LinkedIn. They don't generally, when you are just posting and posting and your headline isn't calling out to them, you're kind of wasting a lot of opportunities. And how many opportunities are you missing? Are you thinking about that? I'm going to give you a few numbers. Let's see, you put out an amazing post and it gets 515 views. Now, 515 people saw that post. 515 people saw that your headline was founder of the Great Widgets Company, which didn't shout out to them at all, and they moved on to the next piece of content. Whereas 515 people saw that post and saw your headline saying, dog and pet owners, I help you bring in more, double your clients and sales this month. Well, reading that content as a dog and pet owner, or a owner of that store, thinking, Oh, I wish my little boutique store would bring in more sales. And this person does that. I have to follow them and get more into the world, even message them and find out, get on the list, find out what are they doing to do this. So the more specific you can be, the better that you will be able to attract them. Next, we want to find the second thing, which was targeting. Now I explained again why it is so important that your headline is very, very clear, because that's a lot of missed opportunities. If every day you got a post and it's got 500 views, and the next day 500 views, and the next day 500 views, how many views are you going to let go by before you take some action and change what you're doing and actually grab some a hold of that? That's the whole reason you're posting, right? You want them to start being going more into your world and get attracted to you, but you are maybe unintentionally pushing them away by having a headline that just doesn't tell them anything really. And we have talked about how to create a client attracting headline, and we workshop that a little bit. And as I said, if you want personalized feedback, I recommend you drop your link in the comments below, and I'll be happy to do that. Now, this little guy is our hamster. I call him the content hamster wheel. And we feel like this a lot on social media, that we are on this endless content hamster wheel. I hate it, to be honest. And I'm sure you hate it too. And why are we on this endless content hamster wheel, right? We are always got to keep the end in mind. The end isn't to post, the end isn't to share, the end isn't to comment and engage. It's all very nice, and this does need to be done in more advanced sort of strategies, but in a way it's wasted effort if you have not even started to look at your headline and to make it much more compelling to find, target, and attract clients to you. You're somewhat wasting your day and your opportunity, and you'll just find you're just going to be running this little hamster wheel forever. Now, if you are kind of sick of that and want to get off that LinkedIn content hamster wheel, I invite you to a free LinkedIn Roadmap Success call with me. And I will drop that link actually probably up above, and you can book a call with me and we can get you going on a plan. At the end of the call, we will have at least mapped out your LinkedIn plan so that you can get off that hamster wheel and you can start attracting clients. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. And if you have any questions about this workshop, please drop it down into the comments below. I have two more coming up. The second one is around how to essentially get off that content hamster wheel and what kind of content you can post that's going to be the most effective to actually bring in leads for you every single week. Who doesn't want leads every single week? It's almost on autopilot, which is lovely. I love waking up and looking at my landing page there, looking at my free gift lead and seeing week after week that little number clicking up, clicking up, clicking up. And that thing is just moving like a machine for me. And I'm sleeping all the time. It's wonderful while I'm sleeping, right? And then a third one is live streaming and the power of video and how to really use story focused live streaming to really stand out, because many people are live streaming now, and to captivate their attention using the power of story is going to be so amazing. Those are the next two workshops coming up, and I invite you to come and join me. You can see all the details down in my featured section of my profile. I will again drop that up above for you. Have a great day, everyone.